Yo, apprentices, acolytes, coming into the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I'm Lord Dagovere, fam, and it's freaking good to see you. We have a new camera angle today, so I just want to let you guys know before I scare you with the angle. I was just going around looking at the old streams. I didn't really like the way the stream looked. So I wanted to make sure that I had a decent angle, a better angle. I keep trying to do stuff. There's so many nice things in my room that I wanted to show off. I just haven't been able to figure out where I wanted to go with it. So right now it's just right here. But that's how we're going to do it. But yo, Leon in the chat. Trent, so good to see you. Saminus Prime, hello there, fam. Let's go. Razor, Skywalker Academy, of course. Pat Jackson, the freaking legend. Let's go. My gosh, so good to see you. Yo, fam, can I get a ready up in the chat? So good to see you guys. Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. By the way, because we got the Revan statue. Did I show you guys the Revan statue? Did I show you guys the Revan statue that we got? Figma statue character doll. No, it's not a doll. But I'm wearing the goat today. I'm wearing the freaking legend. I fought Mandalors and armies of the dark side. You won't stop me. Yes. So I'm wearing the goat today, man. I love my Revan shirt. What am I gonna do? You showed us on this. That's right. I showed you guys a Discord. Okay, give me a second. All right, 1 second. 1 second. I get really nervous about picking him up, so give me a moment. Come on, Revan. The audio is slightly off. Is it worse than before? Really? Okay, I'll have to check it. Usually it is. Sometimes it happens. It could also be my connection. You never know. But yeah, so this is one of the hot toys that I got. Yeah, it's pretty cool, guys, you know? Yeah, man, you know? Yeah, that's how we like it in here with Revan. Yes. So, yeah, dude, he's so good. And you could, like, make him pose in any way that you want. And, of course, they have the different lightsabers. But what's really cool about this one, to show my goddamn freaking nerdiness, okay, is you don't freaking understand that the lightsabers can light the frick up, bro. Oh, yeah. So it's freaking awesome, dude. It's so cool, man. If you guys ever have the chance to get these guys, man, oh, so cool, man. Awesome. I mean, just look at the quality of this thing. I mean, I can see it in my 4K camera, but the way he's weathered, and his armor is weathered, and his hands and everything, the way his mask is, like, it's kind of perfect. So, yeah, definitely get him. Pretty sick. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that he stays. But yeah, he came in this awesome box, and it was pretty sick, man. Like, just a bunch of stuff in here. But yeah, Sideshow. So Hot Toys is the Japanese company. Sideshow is the American version. So it's basically the same company, and they ship it to you. But they're really cool, man. I got this one, and then I bought Ahsoka the White as well. And the only other one that I was gonna get was the Darth Vader Kenobi version, where he shows Hayden Christensen's face, which I really love. But really cool, man. Pretty freaking badass. I love it. If you guys ever save your money and want to get something like this, I feel like I pretty much stopped buying Funko Pops, but as you guys can see, I love the Old Republic. I love pretty much just about every era of Star Wars outside of a few. But the thing is about Funko Pops is, like, they're so cheap, right? Because they're not statues or anything, and it's not like an issue that I have. It's just I want to make sure that when I purchase something, it's gonna have quality. I'm gonna have it for a very long time. So that's why I really like the statues, because they're freaking awesome. So if you guys ever get them, please, I recommend these things. They're awesome. There's so many YouTube tutorials. I think the quality of these things is amazing, and you rarely get to see that type of quality in the Star Wars stuff, man. So definitely check it out, dude. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy, you know. But let me know if the sync, I guess, is like the audio sync is like really bad. I can try to fix it, but last time it was so out of sync, it was really bad. I may just have to remove my camera. But yeah, guys, isn't that sick, dude? Isn't that freaking awesome? I think it's amazing, dude. Sync is fine. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate you guys. But how you guys doing today, man? I missed you. Did anybody listen to the podcast? I know on YouTube we have. Let me see how many people. I think it was like 50 again. Yeah, so it's like 40 views, and then I didn't see what we had on Spotify, but I'm assuming it's been okay. So that's pretty awesome. You know, we don't really, for me, my tiny channel, that's pretty sick. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, man, I love that statue, dude. Yeah, Skywalker Academy says 10 out of 10 singing. I'm jealous of the Revan statue. Yeah, dude, I love it, dude. I love Revan, man. Yeah, I love Revan. I can't like not be excited about Revan. You know, even though I don't like the story. Even though I don't really like the Revan book, even though I don't like Vitiate and everything else that happened to him after Knights of the Old Republic 2. Whatever. I finally caught up with the podcast. Yo, let's go. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, guys, that's such a huge thing. Man, it takes so long to edit that podcast, man. Like, first of all, like, the editing is one thing, but it's not just me blabbering my mouth anymore. And that's what I used to do all the time. It's just like, blah, 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 blah. Let's pick a subject. Wow. Woo, 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 woo. Ready up. And now I don't do that. Now it's like, I'm trying so hard to actually have value with the things that I say. And it's been really tough. Even like the last, I think I've only done like 3 of them or 4 of them. It's been tough. Like to find the structure, you know, find all the sources. The sources are easy to find, but like, man, I will not shut up, guys. I can't tell you how many times where I'm just sitting there running a podcast and I'm just like, so this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then it's just like not relevant, but I just want to keep talking about Star Wars. So I really have to learn how to control myself. It's really bad. It's really bad, dude. I want a Hot Toys OT Stormtrooper, but they're mad expensive. Yes, they are. Yes, they definitely are. It's definitely a want. A luxury want, I would say. So I was very lucky to get them when I did, for sure. I'm listening to it tomorrow. I've been busy hyped though. That's awesome, man. I really appreciate though. I really appreciate you even when you're busy to like take the time. Even if it's like 5 minutes, man. Like that type of stuff. And if you're in the Discord, let me know like what you want to hear more of. What do you think I can do better? Reza was really awesome with a lot of their ideas that they brought to the table. Pat as well. Anybody that's pretty much listened to it has given some type of feedback. So in the end, that's really awesome because you all are contributing to improving the podcast themselves. So if we ever eventually get like hundreds of people listening to it, it's all because of you guys. Because not only have you listened to the podcast, but you also literally made it better with your feedback. So I appreciate it. Yeah, such a nice color scheme. Yeah, it was. It's so nice, man. I love it, dude. There was a lot of people that were like nitpicking the cloth and everything. I was like, man, like I get what you're saying, but I think it looks amazing. But then again, this is like my first one. You know, the only other one that I wanted to get before him was the Mandalorian one, where he was like walking across Tatooine with his broken swoosh bike. It was awesome. It was awesome, man. It was so cool. I need to speak in the Discord. Speak in the Discord. I appreciate it. Yes. Yeah, I can't wait, man. It was pretty good. Pretty freaking good. Pretty good. Oh, so tomorrow is actually kind of a big day because we have the Legacy Kylo Ren comics that are going to be coming out, which I'm going to be really, really excited. I'm also... What's also coming out tomorrow? Isn't the Mon Mothma book coming out tomorrow? I think the Mon Mothma book is coming out tomorrow. So I think that's going to be like really 2 big things that are happening this week for Expanded Universe stuff. And I really want to make content on the Kylo Ren comics. I really want to talk about everything. So I really can't. I'm really excited. Leon says, man, the Jedi really aren't the heroes that I thought. The recent podcast really put that into perspective for me. So, all right, Leon, that's great. That is awesome. That is freaking awesome. And so, yeah, I think that's the whole thing too, is like, there's a lot of people. All right, so I'm gonna name drop a streamer, okay? Element 7. Element is part of the dyad with Darth Choco. They're really cool people. I really like them. They usually bring me on their podcast a lot. And Element is someone, he loves Yoda. Yoda's his favorite character. He also is very positive about the Jedi. But a podcast like that, and the facts like straight come out of the Legends continuity, from the Jedi Path book. Jedi Path book, the Essential Guide to the Force. These are all things that I'm using with the sources from the podcast, as well as some other books and instances, Tales of the Jedi comics. But those books specifically really break down everything from the lore. It gives you an extra context. So let's say, I'll give you an example to help you understand. Something happened in this comic or this book, and they basically take that character from that book, and they basically give them an interview. So it's an extension of what happens in the book. So you can read the book, but then like if you watch sports, they're basically taking Luke Skywalker in post-game, and they're saying, Luke, what did you think about defeating the Emperor? Well, I thought it was great, and I'm really sad I couldn't save my father, but in the end, I needed this experience. It's stuff like that, it's stuff like that they do in these books, and it's amazing. And a lot of people don't read those type of source books. They hear about like Darth Plagueis or Bane Path of Destruction, and they only read the context from that book. But then that's why the Jedi versus Sith Essential Guide is really good, or the Essential Atlas is really good, because it helps you understand even more of what's going through the context of the story. And so yes, Leon and Reza, when you find out about how the Jedi literally believe about the consent thing, that the Force inside an initiate or a child is them giving consent to take them, like it's really disturbing, very invasive, very icky, very sus. There's no way around it, man. It's not a good thing, in my opinion, to defend the Jedi on. Yes, the Jedi are good guys. Yes, the Jedi are much better than the Sith. But that right there is messed up, and that needs reform. And that's just one of the reasons why their dogma ultimately led to their destruction as an order. And it's really sad because I'm someone that loves the Sith. I'm someone that loves Anakin Skywalker. But I only talk about these characters because I want to educate people on their failures and why they have flaws. And so when I bring up the Jedi, and the Jedi are supposed to be the good guys, it makes people hate the Jedi even more. That's not the goal of the podcast. That's not the goal of the channel. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to show people the facts and help them make their own view on these things, whether they are for or against it, or they support or don't support it, And a lot of times, guys, no matter what I say, people hate the Jedi even more. So it's like one of those things where it's not my intention, but like the Jedi were flawed, bro. That's the reality of it, Pat, that's exactly how it is. It's hilarious. Yes. Yeah, Reza. So yeah, when I didn't know about the disturbing part about the Jedi and how they consider Force-sensitive blood automatic consent, I doubt writers intended it that way, but it's hard to look at the past. And that's the thing too, because when you look at what George Lucas wanted to do, there's a lot of things that George Lucas had. There's a lot of notes that we'll never know. But there's so much, which is why I got this other book, The Archives. And this is basically from 1999 to 2005, so all of the prequel trilogy. And what's amazing about this book is you're going to go through this entire book. Let me see if I can turn it around for you guys. You're going to go through this entire book, and every single page is going to be some type of behind the scenes or something info that you're going to get. And one of the main reasons why I got it is because George Lucas talks about how many Jedi were serving during the time of the Clone Wars, and how many survived in Order 66. And there was about 1% of the Jedi that survived, that were in service. So 1%, 10,000, that's 100, maybe 50. And that includes Padawans. But that doesn't include other people that were in service of the Jedi Order, like initiates. Like other people that failed the trials in that were not a Jedi, And it's stuff like that where the original intent of George Lucas's ideas may have gotten skewed in books like this, or future contributions to the Star Wars lore. And yes, that's the problem, But at the end of the day, that's all we have. It's not like we can ask George Lucas, hey, what do you think about this blood testing and the consent of children that the Jedi did after the Battle of Ruusan? So it's just one of those things. You use the facts that we have, make up your own mind. I personally feel like the Jedi really wouldn't do that, but I can say that after the Battle of Ruusan, they probably did because they were in so much fear. At that time, at that moment, with Darth Bane attacking them and the Thought Bomb and the Sith after the Sith War, sure, they could have been so scared because that's ultimately what made the Jedi as the way they were, was the fear. The fear made them so effed up and weird, That's how I view it. But ultimately, I think it's more exaggerated. Their failures are more exaggerated because so many people love Anakin, like myself, and so many people really dislike that situation that the prequels does a really great job of showing you all their failures. Academy says, showing the flaws of the Jedi makes them more interesting, in my opinion. Yes, 100%. And I think it's also just how special Luke Skywalker is. Especially in the Legends continuity where he marries and he has multiple love interests, as well as a character like Nomi Sunrider, who I brought up. Nomi Sunrider, wasn't a Jedi at the start. She had a husband and a child. A husband that was a Jedi, And even a character like her that's able to have trauma, have grief, have a child, and still literally be like one of the greatest and most powerful Jedi of all time. And then Luke Skywalker on the other end, the complete thousands of years after that, shows you how successful the Jedi could have been if they just weren't so stuck in their ways, And I think that's makes those characters, especially Luke Skywalker, so beautiful and special after that, because he truly does bring, the best of the old and the new together to make his new Jedi Order and himself as amazing as they are. That's why so many people love the character. I think that's what's awesome. Yes, the failures of the Jedi and how they are, I don't know, I guess the solution that Luke finds, but even then he's not perfect, as we talked about. Yeah, man. Leon says, we can have a story when the Jedi are the antagonists. Some things they do are legit villainous. I think it's the intent. Like, the one thing that I think the Acolyte did really well, and there's a few things that I think they did really well, is that I can see the Jedi going out and thinking that they're saving Buddy because at the end of the day, it's a religious organization. If they believe the Force is telling them to do this, well then, yeah. I mean, that's the whole definition of that Grey Jedi we had talked about, right? The official definition of a Grey Jedi was doing things that they believed as a Jedi was the Force was telling them to do so. So in that moment that, where they're trying to rescue someone and they end up doing something terrible, yes, that can really start terrible things. I mean, that's how the Sith were even created in the first place. They all had a disagreement about the Force, and then it turned into a civil war. And then they didn't kill the people that lost, who were the Dark Jedi, and then they exiled them and sent them out into unknown space instead of killing them, forcing them away from their homes, and then they literally created the Sith after that, So it's a lot of decisions, it's a lot of mistakes, and I think that's also what makes the Jedi so compelling and so complex as characters, because while they are guardians of peace and light, they ultimately make all of the enemies that want to kill them. So yeah, but that's also just the complexities of Star Wars and how amazing it is, man. It's just, that's the type of stuff that I want to see in the new shows, Hello there says, they were way too cautious with Anakin, and that's when Anakin began to feel conflicted. It's so sad too, because I think in the podcast I talk about how they had their own set of rules and they didn't even follow their own set of rules, and that ultimately made them hypocrites. So do you believe that this person is the chosen one? And if you don't believe that he's the chosen one, why would you even acknowledge him? So now all of a sudden half the council thinks that he is the chosen one, and then you don't even want him to be a Jedi, and then you make him a Padawan instead of being an initiate. So he doesn't really bond with the other kids like they do with the clans and the initiates. He just goes straight over the initiate trials and becomes Obi-Wan Kenobi's apprentice. And that was also something that they forbid. And you also knew that he had trauma and pain and suffering as a slave. You knew that that trauma was connected to a mother who was also a slave that you didn't even try to free and bring it over and try to adhere, at least to his style of living. You know, it's a lot of dogma, it's a lot of problems, and I think, again, that's why a lot of those problems and their failures in the prequel trilogy can't be overlooked. You know, it's just the Jedi's failures continuously bury them in this war of guilt. And it's so hard for people to look past that online in all the videos that I make. No matter what I say, no matter anything positive that I say about the Jedi, it's just Anakin Skywalker, you know, was right in what he did, and the Sith are better. It's really hard to fight those type of people online because they're convinced. Oh man, yeah, from Paul Duncan, great book. Yes, it's amazing. It's awesome. I want to get the original trilogy one too. The style of writing that he has is everything is very random. So if I want to look up stuff in Revenge of the Sith, it's not actually everything that's connected to Revenge of the Sith. It kind of just pops up randomly, which is frustrating. So I have to read the entire book, which is fine. It's just, you know, if I want to look for something specific, it's going to be a little tough. Sorry guys, I drink a lot of water. If it's annoying, please let me know. Yeah, a story about the young Jedi learning about some dark sides of the Order would be interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is awesome, man. I think that there's so much potential with everything with the Jedi. And I get how people are a little annoyed of like the Order 66 stuff, but it's such an important part of the story, you know? And I think that there's still so much more that you can do in that era that doesn't have to do anything with Order 66. For instance, we've never seen a Jedi leave the Order outside of Count Dooku, you know? What about an initiate? Well, like, literally, what about someone that fails the trials and just can't do the Jedi service, the stuff that we talk about all the time? That'd be awesome. This person just goes on and tries to live a life, you know? Like a legitimate, like, fallen Jedi or a fallen initiate that just, he can't do it. You know, and what does he become? You know, does he live? Is he able to still use the Force? He's not a Jedi anymore. You know, I think those are all really awesome. You know, yes, Ahsoka left, correct. Yes, Ahsoka left, but Ahsoka was still being a Jedi, if that makes any sense. I'm talking about someone that literally was like a Jedi and then had to find a new life, get a job, be a person. You know, Ahsoka, I feel like, leaves at such an interesting time. Then she comes back, and then Order 66 happens. I mean, like, someone that isn't as special. You know, that's kind of a scrub. You know, because they're an initiate. They fail the initiate trials, not even the Jedi trials, you know, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of really interesting stuff. I feel like that could be done with that, and I would love to see more of that. Even in Phantom Menace, they were afraid of the prophecy. Exactly. They were terrified. Yes, it's so crazy that whole. But that's also the beauty of it too. It's just like, man, I mean, look what's happening, like right in the current world. Like people have facts and things like that, but they don't want to acknowledge it. Their minds are made up in some way, you know. Very interesting, and how that movie was from like 25 years ago. It's crazy, dude. Reza says, it's interesting for the universe with literal good versus evil to have so much gray morality. Yes, man. It's insane. And I think what's also crazy is that George Lucas literally like talks about the dark side as a cancer. You know? Yeah, Pat. Similar to Cal, but Cal happens right at Order 66. I'm talking about someone that happened like years before Order 66 is even a thing. Like, literally, like, lives maybe like 5 or 6 years before any of that ish goes down. And then just has to live. Reza, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, so George Lucas's original version, you know, about the light side is the dark. The dark is just selfishness, rage, quick pleasures, you know, like a drug. But in that instance where the Force, you can see how there's so many interesting, like, evil but not things. You know, for instance, like the Night Sisters, Asajj Ventress, you know, these characters, you know, bounty hunters, stuff like that. Even characters that don't use the Force. But the Force is supposed to connect everybody. So there's a lot of really interesting aspects of the Force that while it's connected to everybody and helping everybody do things, it's there's still like a lot that isn't really explained, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Sorry, Pat. Yeah, it's been an idea I've been thinking about for a little bit. Yeah, Pat Section says, yeah, the Jedi are really closer to lawful good. Yes, lawful good paladins. Yes, exactly. I think that's probably the best description for them than space warrior badasses we think of them as. Yes. They're religious zealots, and they, like any lawful good order, can be easily blinded, which we see a lot of. And I think that's also another problem with, like, Star Wars media in general, because when you look at Knights of the Old Republic, the video game, right, that Revan comes from, those Jedi are also very dogmatic, very blinded. And I think that also paints the picture of Jedi, like, in a really bad light. I mean, think about it, right? The only time where you see Jedi talked about being good, in my opinion, is Luke Skywalker's New Jedi Order from Legends. And even then, there's so many flaws. There's so many flaws about the New Jedi Order, too, that people don't acknowledge. They don't talk about Kip Duran's radical views, which I brought up in the podcast, how crazy they are. Like, they're literally going down this chaotic good way. We are Jedi, and we can do what we want because we got lightsabers and the Force. So deal with it, you know? Like whip out your lightsabers first, ask questions later. And that's literally like one of their codes, you know? And that's from Luke Skywalker's New Jedi Order, you know? But outside of that, the Jedi don't really have a lot of, like, good Jedi stories, you know? And I'm talking about the Order as a whole. Knights of the Old Republic, they don't want to listen to Revan. Revan goes and fights the Mandalorian War with Alec. And then, of course, they both fall to the dark side, and then they attack the very Republic that they're trying to defend. Knights of the Old Republic 2, the second game, all the Jedi are freaking a-holes and blind and arrogant. They don't want to listen to the Exile because she was someone that fought with Revan, and so they just don't like her at all because of the party that she was affiliated with. And then the entire game, you find out about all these super powerful Sith, and the Jedi are so scared that they're hiding, because they don't want to be killed, you know? So it's just, where are the Jedi stories, you know? And I think that is also a problem with the context of Expanded Universe. They're just, outside of, like, the prequel trilogy and, like, the good stories of here and there of, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn and some good that Yoda does, there isn't really a lot of great Jedi stories from the entire Jedi Order. And that's what I wanted the High Republic to be, but the High Republic is worse, in my opinion. And I'm not talking about, like, story. I'm talking about, like, the Jedi do some messed up things there, too. I would honestly say that they're probably more... They have more issues than they do in the prequel trilogy. So, if anyone's read the High Republic, please call me out and say I'm wrong. But every single character, outside of maybe Stellan Geos, has some issues, I feel like. You know, Yoda's up there too, and a couple other characters, but we barely get any exposure to them whatsoever. Skywalker Academy says, the Jedi never really prepared the initiates for a possible life outside the Order. Really sad, actually, having to learn on your own. Yes. Because they also believe, too, that the initiates were a part of a family. And the family was the clan, the family was the other Jedi, brother and sisters. And you kind of have to understand and see it, I feel like, from the initiate's way, is like, how are they supposed to learn how to bond when you took them from the very people they're supposed to bond with, their parents, you know? So when you think about how the initiates are supposed to become Padawans, is, you know, they have to basically recite their ABCs and do some basic fundamental athleticism and, you know, learn how to use the lightsaber. But they also have to bond with a master or a Jedi Knight to become a Padawan. So, what if you're just some, like, this is one of the things I'm talking about. It's like where this person, this character that I'm thinking about would, like, would have trouble, you know? Like, they can't bond. You know, they can't talk. What if they're super self-conscious? What if they're just, they're so introverted? What if they suck You know, like, what, straight up, like, what if they suck at, like, lifting rocks and using the lightsaber? They're just bad. Yeah, sure, they're midi-chlorians. Midi-chlorians was, like, off the charts on their blood test. So, let's say they're super athletic. They have a great build to do all these things, but they just are not good at sports, you know? So, yeah, really interesting. Leon, did you delete your stuff? I saw a comment somewhere that said Luke probably did the same thing he did with Grogu to Ben Solo and made him have to choose between the Jedi Order or his father. And not seeing his father probably took a toll on him. Oh, that's what you were saying. Okay, so, so far, right now, we have the Rise of Kylo Ren, which was the comics right before the Rise of Skywalker. And we get a pretty good idea of what Luke does. And he's just... Ben's the nephew. You know, Ben is supposed to be the first student of his new Jedi Order. But, mind you, the wording of that is Ben is supposed to be the first student of his new Jedi Order. So, Luke can have many students before Ben, because his Jedi Order is not created yet. This is just going to be his first person in his school. You see what I'm talking about? And I don't think what we were shown in those comics is anywhere to the degree that we saw with Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett. It's completely different. They're literally like class. It's literally like somewhat of a family. And mind you, the 3 or 4 students that he had, they're all awkward, man. I actually really don't like the people that he was meeting with. It's kind of whack. I don't see that being likely. I mean, he didn't cut himself off from Leia, so why would he ask that of Ben? Yeah, that's it, and that's exactly it too. I don't think he would do that. You know, I feel like he would be even more conscious about his family when he's training Ben because of Anakin and because of how he had to deal with Anakin at his stages of Vader. But again, at the same time too, I just really don't like the way Luke is in The Last Jedi. But, you know, I don't want to talk about that, you know, because everybody talks about that. But I love the way he's depicted in everything else. And, you know, it is what it is, you know. But, yeah, I don't see him being that way with Ben. I really don't. In fact, it's hard for me to envision that type of choice. Because I feel like that's the whole point, I guess, of The Last Jedi, is that where he sees that terrifying darkness, it's like, oh, shit, at a reaction, right? It's like, I guess, you ever have, like, a really bad nightmare? Like, you're in the water, and then this giant shark is coming at you, you know, 100 miles an hour, and then you wake up and you flinch? That's what I assume that Rian Johnson was trying to make with Luke Skywalker igniting his lightsaber. It's just like, oh, fuck, you know. And that's what it is. That's what Ben saw. You know, oh my god, he's trying to kill me. No, I just reacted. You know, so it's just, you know, whatever. But I think I understand that. I just don't agree with it, you know. Skywalker Enemy says, I wonder how Ben felt being the first student and how the other student felt about him. Yes. So, have you read the Rise of Kylo Ren comics? They kind of were like jealous of Ben. Ben was very good. There was one of the students. Do I have that? I feel like I can't even show you if I have it on my computer. There was one of the students that was like very competitive. And she was always trying to surpass Ben. And, you know, Ben was just good. She was not. She was good, but she just wasn't as good as Ben. There was Mon Cal, Jedi as well. There was also the 2 other humans. And that was the one girl that was trying to surpass Ben. And then it was Ben's friend, who was, I think he had like a shaved head or he was bald or something. And he was kind of like the one person that Ben would talk to. And that was the person that kind of understood him the most. But you could see there was a point where Ben started to be very isolated from everybody else. And that was because Snoke came into his life. They don't tell us anything. They just show us Snoke. and Ben talking to one another. Like, Ben would literally leave the Jedi Order and go talk to Snoke. And then that was it. Like, so somewhere along the lines, Snoke plagued his mind. And then Ben would go back to Luke, and then Luke would, try to teach Ben. But Ben was pretty much gone at that point. But the four students, the three other students that he had were just kind of not what you would expect. It just, very forgettable and not so special, I would say. Yeah. Yes, Leon, it did not. It did not. And that's the whole point, right? That's what I understand about The Last Jedi. Is that it's supposed to, you're like, everybody that's telling the story is, there's a certain word in therapy, okay? And it's called an unreliable, it's unreliable narration. I think that's what it is. It's like, so let's say you're in therapy and you're telling an event to the therapist that says, I killed someone, right? But you're only telling them how it happened. You're not telling them why. You're not telling them all these like things. So you're not telling them all the details, and that's the whole point. The details that you're telling them are making you look like the good guy, right? And so that's the whole point. Ben is telling you his side. Luke is telling you his side, but they're all lying and leaving context out. And so that's the point. Only at the end, the very end, where Luke tells you all the details, that is supposed to be the complete truth. And that's why he says that, like a fleeting shadow, like a moment, for the farthest moment, I said, "Woo, lightsaber," and then it was a mistake, and then that's the Last Jedi discourse. So I don't. That's why I just can't enjoy that movie as much as I want to. Yes, selective recollection is a better terminology. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Absolutely. That's it. 100%. Yes. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. Had to get my cat. My cat keeps tapping the door. But yeah, that's the point. That's the discussion. I mean, even still, like, I just always feel like, I don't know. I whatever. I think there's enough videos for you guys to watch it on other channels about those things. But yeah. But yeah, that's the whole point. It's just the whole Ben thing and the whole Academy. I still feel like there's so much potential to tell. Because Shadow of the Sith, which is one of my favorite books, let me see if I can bring it up. I don't know if you guys have read this book. And by the way, are any of you, like, do any of you guys actually, like reading Star Wars books? Like, in general, like, straight up. Because, this book, let's see if I can bring it up. So, this book, oh, I'm on the wrong side. Wait, can I go to this one? So for me, guys, this book, Shadow of the Sith, to me is necessary reading. Okay, this is one of the greatest books in Star Wars canon, Legends and new canon. This book almost made me cry. This book was that good. There's certain points that I feel like make you understand, like, who Luke is, what's happening at that time. And while I don't necessarily like the movies of Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, I think this book is amazing. And I think they need to make more books like this to help enhance the Star Wars expanded universe of new canon. So I think that you all should go on Audible, make an account, try the free trial. When you try the free trial, you get a credit, a single credit. This credit allows you to buy a book as currency, and you can literally download this in that free trial for free. Okay? and just listen to this book, because this book is damn good. All right, so definitely go check it out, because it also has ties to what we're talking about and everything else. I love that book, man. I will never stop recommending that book. That book is so good. All right, that's how I feel. Yeah, so check that one out. It's such a good book, man. So good. And as someone that, like I said, dislikes those movies, that is amazing. It's so good. It's exactly what I would hope to see more. So, yeah, again, I'm more positive and more controlled with my dislikings of these movies. So take that as what you will, but I think this is amazing. I think those books are amazing. Leon said, that's how I got into Star Wars after being a casual fan from watching A New Hope and playing Lego Star Wars in the original show. Yeah, man, that's what it's about, dude. If you guys ever want, I can just go on my recommendations for books. I wonder if there's like a tier list site that I can do for Legends continuity or new canon, and I can just tell you guys, this is good, don't get this one. This is good, don't get this one. This is good, don't get this one. I wonder if I should just do that one of these streams. We have 20 minutes, so maybe we can do that. I don't know. If anybody knows, where's Bugsy? Is Bugsy around? Let me see. You awake, boy? I'm gonna message him. Okay. Pat Jackson says, personally, I think Star Wars works best as a visual medium. Not that stories aren't good, but I have a hard time enjoying it as a book. I understand. I understand completely. I think the first time I read a book was the Phantom Menace novelization, and it was just hard. I didn't read it as an audiobook. For me, the audiobooks are amazing because they're literally like audio movies. They play sound effects, they play music, different voices for everybody. I do not like listening to other books that are not like that. Like, it's just such high quality. There are some books that don't do that, but I'm telling you, bro, I'm telling you, man, that is amazing. All right. Yeah. Saminus, I have a tier list for new Disney canon. Do you guys want to see that? Do you guys want to see the tier list for new Disney canon? We can do that. Saminus Prime says, I grew up reading Star Wars books, so I often read those more than often, especially the Thrawn trilogy and the OG Jedi Prince series. That's awesome, man. That's so cool. There's a lot of OG cassette tapes that I find in thrift stores, and I always want to get them. You guys know me. I always get some stuff from thrift stores, and it's so good. It's so fun when you get. It's, I don't know, man. It's like a vintage feel of nostalgia, especially if you didn't have a childhood like me. I wasn't allowed to do all those things, you know? So when everybody else was kind of sitting there and enjoying stuff, I was not allowed to watch TV. I wasn't allowed to do anything. So I've only really acquired a lot of this information since my 20s. And then even the last couple years where I've actually had money to spend on myself. So if you still have those things like from your childhood or when you were younger, that's awesome. And you should hold on those things forever, because I'm telling you right now, not only do they go for a lot of money, but they also, like, they're just hard to find. They're hard to replace, you know, the memories. A lot of people don't have those. Skywalker Academy says, I think I might actually have that one. Yeah, nice. Yes, that's great. It explained Luke Skywalker's father, the Force, the Jedi, episodes 1 through 6. It seems so amazing, and I watched them all, and they were amazing, and I just thought they were gonna be, that they were all gonna be amazing in the original trilogy. Yeah, man, it's sick, dude. I love it. So our tier list would be AF high as hell. Wait, dope AF, yeah. Leon says, I forgot what it's called, but it was the basic explanation for a book for kids. Oh man, there's been so many of those too. So yeah, there's a lot of the essential guidebooks, and these are some of the older ones. So this might be around that time. I think this came out in like 1995. Let me see. Where's the publishing? This is 2000. I mean, it's supposed to say on every book. I can't find it. It's Del Rey. I thought this was like 2000 something. There it is, 2002. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of them are like that, especially they all change at a certain one. Yeah. Lucasfilm, it's one word. Oh, you guys talking about something else? Maybe. Pat Jackson, the audio for Revenge of the Sith is crazy good. Yes. It is. That is... I have that book. Where is it? Oh, did I put it back? Damn, I put it back. Yes, right, because I was using it. But that book is amazing. That might be one of the best books of all time. It's just so well written. There's just... I used to think Darth Vader and Anakin were two separate people until I read that book. That's how powerful that book is as persuading you at certain things. I used to think Palpatine won. I used to think Mace Windu did not win. And I thought Palpatine legitimately was holding back. And when I read that book, I realized Mace Windu won. I used to think Mace Windu was an asshole. And then I read that book. And then I realized Mace Windu just deeply cared for Anakin in his own way. That book changed my perspective on so many things. That's how important that book is. You can watch so many lore videos about all these things in Star Wars, but until you read the details yourself, word for word in the book, get your own impression of it, that's when everything changes. Someone can explain to you what something looks like and smells like and feels like, but then when you experience it for yourself, it changes your brain. And I feel like that book changed my brain. That's how I feel, man. Seriously. Yes, as someone writing the Star Wars audio story, it's hard to describe and make it engaging. Describe what happens. Yes, it's very hard. And that's the importance, because Star Wars is such an ambience. It really is. It's such a epic of story, you know? It's too much. Pat Jackson says the most important thing in Revenge of the Sith is Anakin being told about the not from a Jedi knowledge in the library. Yes. And of course, there's so many things that I would have loved to be in the movies that weren't, and about the dark side, the dark side archives. Which is why Anakin wanted the rank of Master, to go in there and see if he can find a cure for Padme, something to help save Padme. I think I made a video on that. It's stuff like that where it's just like, oh wow. Oh, and also Palpatine, literally bribing Anakin, that's something that how wicked Palpatine is, but then you also don't know how desperate Palpatine is, and it's that book is also showing you dude, Anakin, I'll buy you a planet. Anakin, I'll buy you these apartments. Anakin, I'll buy you this and that and this. Please, please turn to the dark side. Please, it's just it's the craziest stuff that that's what's so great about the writing and the novelizations, is they add so much more. So even when you watch the movies, yeah, there are things that don't happen in the book, that happen in the movies, and there are things that happen in the movies that don't happen, things that happen in the book and they don't happen in the movies. But there's so many beautiful things that all of those novelizations do, It's so great, guys. I freaking love it, man. Okay, so I have my tier list that I made a while back. So we can just take a look at it right now if you guys want. Leon says, I always like to think that Vader and Anakin are two separate people because I love Anakin, but they aren't. No use coping. Yes, and that's the struggle. That's the struggle. Is that realizing that Anakin did what he did, even with all the manipulation, he had those choices. So it's just, it's always a struggle, especially for people that love Anakin like myself. It's just it's a hard pill to swallow to realize they're the same person, and it doesn't matter how old I'll get, I'll never be okay with that knowledge. It's just so goddamn frustrating. Damn it, Anakin! Why did you have to kill Mace? What the every time I see that movie, man. Dude, and then this year is the damn anniversary of that movie, so it's just so frustrating, bro. God. Ugh. Has anyone here in chat heard of, listen to the radio dramas from back then? Yes, I did hear a few, but I wanted to listen to Tales of the Jedi ones, because I haven't listened to them yet, and Exar Kun's in there, and I know his voice actor recently perished, so I want to, as a tribute to him, I want to listen to it. All right, so let's take a look. So, oh yeah, Skywalker Academy says that was next level. I wasn't expecting Palpatine to straight up. Yes, that was insane. It's crazy, man. It's also just the dragon part is what got me. Like I said, it's just like, you know, you grabbed her throat, you killed them, you know, you did this, you did that. It's like Anakin, you know, sees the sun die, and he's like, oh my God, stars can die? What the hell? And that changes his brain, you know, it changes. He's like, wow, I didn't know that was possible. And then every time he gets angry, something happens. He keeps talking about this dragon. It was the dragon. It wasn't me that got angry. It was the dragon. It wasn't me that hurt those people. It was the dragon. It wasn't me that grabbed her throat. It was the dragon. It was this furnace, this fire. And then he realizes that the fire and the furnace, the dragon, is him. So it was him the whole time. You know? And the way that they say that in the book is just so sad. You know, it's so sad, and in realizing, like, man, you know, he was getting manipulated by this very evil person. He was absolutely mistreated by the Jedi Council. You know, the Jedi Council absolutely failed him. You know, it's just Anakin made his choices, but he's also the sum of the failures of the Jedi. You know, and that's it's just it's a tragedy, bro. Like, it's a tragedy. Anakin, maybe if he was stronger, you know, and wasn't being manipulated by the most evil bastard in all of Star Wars, the devil himself, right? That's what George Lucas calls him. That's why, you know, I always feel like Palpatine is supposed to be the be-all of the Sith Lord. He's supposed to be the devil, you know? And people always say, well, not in terms of power. Well, I mean, it's the same thing, bro. It's supposed to be like the evil incarnate. He's supposed to be darkness manifested. He's supposed to be more powerful than anyone in the EU. That's the whole point of Anakin falling, you know? So he has this evil guy manipulating him and grooming him, and then he has the Jedi just being, you know, just a bunch of freaking failures, you know, and then on top of that, it's Anakin making these bad decisions, you know? So it's a contribution of everything. But Anakin made those decisions to do those things, and that's coping. I feel like that's the hard thing, is realizing that there was still a chance. There was still a chance. Even with all those things happening, there was still a chance with Anakin the way he was. But Anakin ultimately killed Mace Windu. So it sucks, man. It always sucks. Alien 3 actually had a similar "it wasn't me, it was the dragon" line. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Was that the novel? I don't remember that in the movie. I just recently watched that one again before I saw Romulus, which was amazing, by the way. I loved Romulus. Okay, guys. All right, so we have the tier list here. So I don't know if you guys have been looking at it. So we'll start with the weakest for me. Weakest for me by far was Star Wars Resistance. Couldn't really get into this. Yeah, couldn't get into it. Rise of Skywalker, here's my thing with Rise of Skywalker, okay? 40 years of the entire franchise, I don't think is represented in this movie. There's a lot of things that I really like. It's just, if you were going to tell me this was the final episode of Star Wars, the grand culmination of all these characters that were in the movies, I don't think it greatly represents all those characters. That's why it's down there. Obi-Wan Kenobi, on the other hand, had some really cool fights, but Pat knows that I talked about this. I just really disliked the soundtrack. I thought the way the show looked was poor. It did not look to me like a Star Wars show. It looked more like a made-for-TV show, you know, and it's just, man, the first couple episodes are really slow. There's a lot of editing issues, where I'm sure you guys know. It's just some things, you know, I don't need to say. I don't need to say it. You guys know. So that's why for me, these specific projects are at the weakest. Acolyte would probably be here too. If it's not in this region, it's probably in the next region, and that is the meh region. And for me, that is right now The Last Jedi. Here's the thing. the reason why I like certain things in The Last Jedi is because I love the movie for Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is one of my favorite characters. I think The Last Jedi is a Kylo Ren movie. It might be his best movie. Straight up. He looks better. He's got incredible dialogue in that movie. His scenes, I think, literally hold the entire movie. I just love that movie for Kylo Ren. I do not like that movie for everything else. I think the movie has an amazing soundtrack. I think Last Jedi is one of the best looking Star Wars movies. Like, just beautiful looking, man. And that's why, and those are the only things that I can really talk about how much I like about that movie. Yeah, I always forget Resistance exists. Yes, and that's exactly my mentality. Always forget it exists. Absolutely agree with Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Mandalorian. I gotta disagree about Obi-Wan, though. It wasn't as good as it should have been, but it was far from worst. Okay, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that's just me. It's just the potential. So I look at a lot of these shows, and it's like what it could have been, and then what it's not. Or sorry, what it could have been, and what it is now. And it's just, it was just so, bro. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back after freaking 20 years? Hello? And then that's all you give me? That's why. That's why, to me, it's the weakest. Alright, so good. Rebels is great. Rebels is so good. Love Rebels. Only thing I don't like about Rebels is the aesthetic and the lightsabers. Some of the episodes in Rebels are not great. But some of the episodes in Clone Wars are also not great. So, yeah. Solo, a Star Wars story? Awesome. Really good. I don't really have much to say bad about this. It's just the only reason why it's in good and not peak is because I just don't care for Han Solo too much. I didn't really want a Han Solo movie. And when I saw it, it was after The Last Jedi, so I was also still numb from that experience. Bad Batch is amazing. I love the Bad Batch. I don't have anything bad to say about the Bad Batch outside of, like, maybe there was just too many episodes where I felt like nothing happened, but I still really loved it. Star Wars Visions, now, it's in good, but Season 1 is peak. The Village Bride, The Duel, La Pinocho is really good. The Ninth Jedi, what's the Elder? Dude, those all should be series. They're amazing. They're so good. Second season I did not mess with. It was not my vibe. That's why it's in good. Star Wars Visions is amazing. Star Wars Visions is so underappreciated, man. Like, if you want Star Wars stories to be like the rest of this generation should be, it's in Star Wars Visions Season 1. All those creators were amazing. They all need to come back. Book of Boba Fett, overhated. I liked Book of Boba Fett. It also gave us some of the best Luke Skywalker, some of the best episodes of The Mandalorian that we've seen, and I know it's Book of Boba Fett, but it's still a part of the Book of Boba Fett, so we have to acknowledge those good things. Only thing I don't like about Book of Boba Fett is how slow it made Boba look. And also, I just really disliked how long it took for Cad Bane to be in this goddamn story. Jesus, man. What the flip? Yeah, but that's how I feel. When it focuses on Obi-Wan and Vader, it's great. I like the actress playing Leia, but everything else is meh. Totally agree with you, Skywalker Academy. Hello there says, I started Resistance a while back. I binged Clone Wars Season 1 through 6 again since I was bored. Yeah, I feel that. The Village Bride is the best episode. Absolutely perfect. We need more of stories. Dude, can you say it louder for the people in the back, baby? That's how I feel. I don't see Skeleton Crew on there. Yes, this was made last year. So, Skeleton Crew is, I'll say good. It's not peak because it's not like a Star Wars story I can get super excited about. Like, I get excited for, like, The Mandalorian, you know? But it's really damn good. Like, that's it. That's the only flaw I felt like Skeleton Crew had. It just wasn't a story that I was excited about. It's still really good. Still awesome. One of the best finales. One of the best looking stars that we had. Great soundtrack. Great actors. Kid actors were amazing. I had nothing bad to say about them, and I can't stand kid actors. So, yeah. That's how I feel. I don't see... Yeah, so Pat Saxton says, which SSN was the Witch in the Cave one? The Witch in the Cave. Oh, that was Season 2. That was Screecher's Reach. That was amazing in season 2. That one was the best one. I literally would take that one out of everything else in season 2. Yeah, because that one was so good, man. I freaking love that, dude. That was such a great episode. I think my reaction's still on the channel. Yeah, it was pretty good. Leon says, I desperately need a Kylo Ren prequel. I don't want to keep rewatching The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker to see that legend. I understand. I mean, that's why the comic comes out tomorrow. I'm literally going to go buy that comic tomorrow. Brent! Oh my god, how you doing, fam? I'm so glad to see you. I literally just showed everybody my Revan statue. My Revan... What do you call it? Revan... I don't know. I don't want to call it a Figma. And it's not a action figure. I don't know. Thank you for being here, though. Hey, man, the only one I disagree with is Rebels. It's peak for me. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Oh, Tales of the Jedi, pretty good. Only reason why I'm going to put it as good is because it's too short and it takes the name of the comics that I really love. That's it. That's it. Outside, it's amazing. Peak, so we'll get close here. We'll get peak, all right? And I'm going to tell you guys why, all right? Are you going to cover the comic on the channel? Yes, I am. I'm going to cover the comic on the channel. I'm going to, listen, I'm going to try to cover as much new canon as I can. Just please watch the shorts, guys. Please, because for some reason, new canon doesn't do well on my channel. Like, Legends does good. But I don't want to be that guy that just makes, you know, George Lucas Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I like all Star Wars. Yes, there's, as you can tell from this, there are a lot of stuff that I don't like, but I don't want to be that guy, you know? So, yeah. All right, peak, Force Awakens. Force Awakens is overhated. I never understood any of the things that people hated. Everyone called it safe, and I thought that was the point. I felt like that was the first Star Wars that wasn't George Lucas. I felt like it needed to be safe. They needed to show people and make them understand that they could handle this, and I thought that was exactly what it is. Soundtrack was amazing. I never understood the Mary Sue thing. It made no freaking sense to me. I still don't understand it. I mean, she got her ass whooped by Kylo Ren. He literally threw her across the freaking planet. She hit, sorry, not the planet. Threw her across the forest. She slammed into a tree. She went unconscious. She failed to save Finn. Finn got knocked out unconscious because of her, because she was unconscious. I don't know, man. I just didn't get the criticism. You know, I understood what people were trying to say, but I think that they were glazing her more than she was, like, what she was actually doing. And then in the second movie, Last Jedi, like, Snoke is, like, entering her mind, like, really, you know, uncomfortably, like, forcing himself inside of her. Like, that's what the book describes it anyway. And that's what I saw too. Like, she's getting manhandled by Snoke. So I just didn't understand that. But from the Force Awakens standpoint, I thought it was amazing. As a standalone movie that's not connected to anything else, I love this movie. I still do. Like, I love this movie, man. I think it's magical. I think it's fun. And every time I watch this movie, despite Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca and Han and Leia not getting in the Millennium Falcon and saving everybody, I still enjoy this movie very much. That's how I feel. Rogue One, amazing. Amazing. Rogue One is amazing. Rogue One is so damn good. God, I've almost watched Rogue One as much as I've watched Revenge of the Sith. That's how much I like Rogue One. There's nothing else that needs to be said. The Mandalorian, first 2 seasons. I've almost watched The Mandalorian first 2 seasons as much as I've watched Revenge of the Sith. And in high school, from sophomore year to senior year, I literally used to keep Revenge of the Sith on every single night to the point I knew every goddamn dialogue in that movie. I had a Batman DVD player. It was the only thing that I bought. And I could literally loop the movie, the entire movie. So as soon as it ended, it would play again. And I played that shit every goddamn night, baby. Every night. And that's what I do with Mandalorian. The first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. I love The Mandalorian so much. Season 3 is, like, not as good as the other 2 seasons, but I still really like it, man. Like, I like it. You know, it's obviously it's not a 10 out of 10 like the first 2 seasons, but it's good. And even with how not as good as it is at the other seasons, it's still, in my opinion, so much better than a lot of what's on here. Clone Wars Season 7 alone, amazing. Peak. Clone Wars Season 7 is peak. Clone Wars Season 7 is so good. A couple episodes are not great, but The highs for me with Order 66, too good. Too good. Andor, amazing. Only thing I don't like about Andor is no lightsabers in the Force. That's it. That's it. That's all I have to say. Ahsoka has a lot of flaws. The choreography is not great in the finale. The finale itself is not great. The first 2 episodes, in my opinion, are manufactured conflict that so casual fans, and sorry, this is not an insult, just fans who do not watch the animation or know of the expanded universe have to be up to speed with everything else. So I felt like those 2 episodes didn't move the plot as well as it could have. Outside of that, the show is overhated, and it does everything that I thought the sequel trilogy was going to do for Anakin Skywalker. That's why it's my favorite. Best and favorite are 2 different things. Honestly, it should be in good, but it's just I'm super biased about the things that I like, so I think it's peak. But there are a lot of flaws. I love Anakin Skywalker so much. I love the soundtrack so much, and that episode where Anakin comes back and then Ahsoka is Ahsoka the White, I love that episode, man. God, I love that episode. Sorry, guys. God, I love that episode so much, man. Grogu saving Din in Boa's peak. Yes, I love that. Dude, and season 3 of Mandalorian has so many amazing camera angles, so many amazing cinematography, man. It's so good. I think because the season itself isn't as potent or as solid in writing, I think a lot of people really overlook those things. I don't know, man. Those camera angles were amazing. I just always envisioned them flying with their Mando with like the GoPro, and then of course how they're all flying in together, and then you have Armor and Bo-Katan with the Darksaber, and Armor just flying around with their jetpack, beating the shit out of these Imperial Mandalorians, dude. It was awesome, man. In the hundreds of Mandos with them, that was so cool, bro. That was insane. For realsies. I can never say that Star Wars soundtrack from John Williams could ever be bad. It's possibly the only... Yeah, exactly. Samus Prime says, oh yeah, I agree with you for the Skeleton Crew. It was really cool, but I'm totally fine if there's... Yes, that's exactly how I feel. I thought the show was great. It's not a Jedi story or it's not a Sith story, so it's hard for me to get involved. Andor is not either, but Andor is damn good, Skywalker Academy says, I like Rogue One, but it wasn't my favorite. I totally get that. A lot of people have to struggle with the morally gray stuff. Rebels are good guys. Imperials are bad guys. And they don't like Cassian Andor shooting someone in the first opening scenes. So I get that. By the way, they're going to re-release Revenge of the Sith in theaters. Yes, I'm probably going to go. I have a, let me see if I can show you guys. I have the Return of the Jedi poster. So maybe if they do another Revenge of the Sith one, I'll get that one too, because your boy loves Revenge of the Sith, man. That's my damn movie. Yeah, dude, I love that. 100% agree with Ahsoka. No joke, I teared up. Yeah, man, I do not understand how people dislike that. We are so critical as fans about not incorporating that character and everything else in the sequel trilogy. Why are we all of a sudden saying it's nostalgia bait? It doesn't make sense to me, I think that show has flaws, but I just don't understand those criticisms toward it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Please go ahead and listen to the podcast. The Kylo Ren comics are coming out tomorrow. I'm going to try to get them as soon as possible so I can make content for you guys. I don't have a car, but I will literally walk to the comic book store and go and get that and make content. And if you guys are inside the Discord, I can also share the stuff from the comics as well. And hopefully we'll see something else. It'll be really fun. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you come over here next time. Every podcast is at 8 p.m. on Sunday Eastern Time. And then we have a short that's uploaded to the channel every single weekday at 9 a.m. And then, of course, don't forget these streams where I get to talk to all you pretty awesome people every single 8 p.m. on Tuesday. But you know how it is, fam. You know what we doing here. Coming into the Dark Temple. Visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many other Force sensitives like yourself. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you all. Seriously, you're the bestest, all right? I'll see you around, baby. Deuces.